both those bolts. There's where the one goes right there. I'm looking at the front of the machine. Gonna undo that one right there. And you basically have to lift up and pull the differential forward. And if you're lucky, the guy was, it'll pop right out. And you'll have that spring sitting there. But in between, behind that cover, right there, that big metal one, right there, I'm touching with my flashlight. That's where your seal is going to go. And there's that other bolt right there. So now what we got to do is kind of get that spring out of our way and then pull that big plate there out. It'll also have that coupling. So that's the next step. For those of you that are kind of like me and couldn't find anything online, so this ring here separates from that drive shaft. Now, if you look in the parts breakdown when you buy your seal, you actually see it shows as it's one piece, but that is a separate seal to put out. I did bend mine, which is not a big deal. I'm just gonna bend it back, but right there where my finger is, that is the seal that I need to get out. But yeah, so it is a separate piece. Some kind of trial by error here. But I would definitely say if you guys are getting the seal, see if you can find this. If you do mess it up, mine's just bent. I didn't break anything, just in that one spot. So I'll have to flatten that out before I put it back in, but that's not a big deal. But yeah, so now your seal is right there, and I can see my seal is torn right here. So that's the problem that we're having. My seal's falling apart. So I will update you when I get that other seal out. All right, so I just cleaned that up a little bit more. It's better. You want it to get as clean as possible. You don't want to get dirt pushed in anywhere up there when you install your new seal. So yeah, I just gave her a good clean here. And before I remove it, I might still go around it a little bit more, but I'll let you know how I remove it. All right, so to get that seal out, the best way that worked was right here. Just took a flathead screwdriver, made sure to get the right angle on it, don't damage the case of the Diff. Got the screwdriver in there, and just slowly pried her out. And so that's the old one. So I was looking for areas of damage on the old one. Now this was caused by me, but the rubber itself is way thicker on the new one than it is the older one. And this is way softer and let go. This is way stiffer. I know the spring band came out, but yeah, so this is, yeah, so out with the old, and now I'm gonna reinstall it. I'm gonna use a little bit of, I'm gonna wipe this and use maybe just a film of grease to seat that in there, and or spray it down with fluid film or something, just to get that nice so you're not putting the seal on dry. I know the lighting's not the greatest, but got it back in. The seal and that race or plate or dust cap, whatever you guys want to call that, I have that in. So the seal, once I got that old seal out, to put the other one in, I just put a little bit of film of grease on it, and then I basically just worked it around with my thumbs, pushed it in to place. I didn't really feel like hitting the seal with the hammer. I was able to, it wasn't easy, but I was able to get it pushed in all the way, seated properly with my hands, or my thumbs. My thumbs do hurt now. And then to do this one, got it lined up, and I just ever so gently spun it. I'm not gonna be able to now, but I spun it, and I was able to just give it a nice firm whack with this. Very, very carefully. I'm not pounding on it, but just very easily. So now I'm gonna get that spring put in and align the drive shaft and slide my diff back and put the boot on there. All right, so what I found best to work for me to get, all of that back in there. What I did, so you don't have, so I just want to clarify, I did not remove the drive shaft to do this, guys. You don't need to. Is it easier with drive shaft removed? Yes, but I think that I would just, that was in a very inconvenient spot, that band clamp, or else I was going to, but I got lucky. So I got that seal on. So what I did was I was underneath the machine right there. I had it jacked. I didn't, but all I did was I had to push it forward a little bit, push the diff forward, got that spring in, made sure the spring lined up. There's another recessed hole inside of there. The spring has to go into. Once the spring was in, then I pulled it back until the splines on my drive shaft, which is right there on that rubber right there. And once I got the splines touching, I just rotated it until I felt the splines caught, and then I gave the diff a good pull back, up and back, and it slid right on. And then I basically just worked that boot there, just worked it around the outside, and she popped on, no problem. So now that's all I have to do. I just got to get those holes lined back up and throw my 2 bolts in and fill it with gear oil. So that bolt there is installed along with that one right there. And then, so yeah, you just have to do your standard stuff with your fill, level, tighten up your drain plug underneath here, there. Fill it with the appropriate oil and level. And yeah. So overall, wasn't too bad. Yeah, it was tough. But yeah, so yeah. 2019 Suzuki Kingquad 750. So hopefully we don't have any more leaks.
I just wanted to make note of the color of the oil here. It's very white, and the white oil is an indication that water is mixing with the oil. So that's why it's pretty important if you see any oil leaks on any major components to definitely address them, because if you can see oil leaks, if oil can leak out, water can also get in, whether that be through riding through a water hole or some mud, or just doing pressure washing of the machine. That is how water has gotten into this oil, because we did some really deep water riding in the fall, and that is most definitely where it's come from.